What's up everybody, it's Sean here, and I'm back today to give you guys a review of the Nike Ja 1 in this Day 1 colorway. So despite the Grizzlies being knocked out of the playoffs by LeBron James and the Lakers, and of course all the off-the-court issues that Ja Morant has been dealing with, it's still undeniable that Morant is one of the most exciting stars in the NBA today. So I know the timing was a bit awkward, but here we are in 2023 with his very first signature sneaker, the Nike Ja 1. And while the Vancouver Grizzlies inspired Scratch colorway is the very first colorway to release for this model, this Day 1 colorway was much more widely available, and I guess you could say this was the first general release version of the Ja 1. So these released here in Canada on Foot Locker on April 19th, which is where I managed to grab my pair, and they retailed for a price of 145 Canadian dollars or 110 US dollars, making this one of, if not the most affordable signature basketball shoe from Nike. And the official colorway for this shoe is Cobalt Bliss, Citron Tint, Hot Punch, and Medium Soft Pink. And before I go on any further in this video, I want to let you guys know that this is not a performance review. So at the time that I'm filming this, I haven't decided if I want to wear these on the court or if I'm just going to be sticking to rocking these casually. So if you're looking for more of a lifestyle inspired review of the Ja 1, then welcome to this video and thank you for sticking around. So first things first, here's a quick look at the box. So this comes in this pale blue cardboard box representing Ja Morant's blue-collared work ethic. So it sort of has a stone-like texture to it, and on the very top we have Ja Morant's logo, and then on the side of the box we have Ja Morant written out in white. So from the side view of the sneaker, the Ja 1 is a very sleek looking design, but that changes once you actually wear these shoes, but I'll get into that later on in the review. So taking a look at the toe box, you'll see that this area of the shoe, this is covered in this light blue colored mesh, but then surrounding the front toe cap, we have an asymmetrical overlay of this tumbled synthetic leather, also done in that same pale blue color. Moving downwards to give you added support and containment around this forefoot area, we have another overlay of that synthetic leather, and when you compare this to the medial side, this panel here is perforated, and if you look at the size of the perforations, it looks like it forms the number 12 representing Ja Morant's jersey number. Above this, covering the top 3 eyelets, we have this pale blue colored fused material which gives you added durability, and then underneath this you'll see the mid panel is once again covered in that same mesh that we saw on the toe box. Surrounding this ankle collar area, the interior of the shoe in this area is extremely well padded, so that's why when I mentioned the side view of the shoe, when you look at it here, it looks very sleek and very tapered, but then when you look at the shoe from above, so that's when you're wearing the shoe and you look downwards, it almost looks like the upper of the shoe is very puffy, and it doesn't have a very streamlined, sleek look to it, which I guess in a way gives the shoe a little bit more of a casual appeal, but I personally would have preferred if the top-down view of the shoe wasn't as puffy or boat-like. Moving on to the details of the shoe, on the mid panel you'll see we have this TPU swoosh, which is done in this gradient style, and both swooshes on either side are connected, and you can see this TPU swoosh wraps around the back. Covering the heel of the shoe, we have this translucent ripstop material, which reveals the words 12 AM repeating throughout in red, and we have Ja Morant's signature embroidered on the lateral side of the heel. And then above this, the top portion of the heel is covered in more of that synthetic tumbled leather, and in the center we have the number 12 embroidered here, and it's done in different colors between the left foot and the right foot. In terms of the laces, so these only come with one lace option, and they give you these flat style laces done in that tonal blue color. Underneath this, the bottom half of the tongue is covered in more of a silky, smooth feeling mesh, as opposed to the rougher mesh seen on the toe box and the mid panel. And then the top half of the tongue is covered in that synthetic leather once again, and we have this rectangular tag featuring the Ja Morant logo once again, and it's done in a pale yellow color on the right foot and more of a pinkish color on the left foot. If you look at the inside of the tongue, you'll see it's lined in that mesh material, and the tag here has the word Ja on the left foot and the number 12 on the right foot, along with Ja Morant's signature once again right above this. So the interior of the shoe, as I mentioned earlier, it's extremely well padded, and it's covered in this pale blue colored mesh. And then moving on to the insoles, so these come with your typical foam lined insole, nothing special about this at all, but it features this handwritten note from Ja, basically a thank you letter, which gives the shoe a very personalized touch, which I thought was pretty dope and it felt pretty special. And then if you remove the insole, you can see the small rectangular Zoom Air unit which sits underneath the forefoot, but we'll get into that later on in the review as well. So the upper of the Ja 1 sits atop this full-length EVA foam midsole, and this midsole is entirely painted in this vintage-looking yellow color. And then just like I mentioned earlier, we have a small Zoom Air unit which sits right underneath the forefoot, which gives the shoe more of a responsive and bouncy feel underneath the forefoot specifically. And then turning the shoe over to the bottom, So this outsole is entirely constructed out of a pink colored rubber. We have this multi-directional traction pattern that's found from heel to toe, and towards the heel of the shoe, once again we have Ja Morant's logo, and it's done in a red color on the right foot and a dark blue color on the left foot. And there's so many personalized touches within the shoe, you can tell that it's so special being the very first signature sneaker for Ja Morant. So for example, he even put his daughter's name on the medial side of the midsole itself, so you just can't help but feel very happy and very proud for him. So that breaks down the look and the construction of the Ja 1. And for those wondering about sizing, so generally speaking, this is a bit more of a narrow fitting shoe. So my foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. And because my feet are a little bit wider, I opted to go up half a size to a size 10.5. So I'd say that that was the right decision for me. If you have a narrow or normal width foot, I feel like you could go true to size to give you that nice snug one-to-one fit. But if your feet are more on the wide side, I would probably recommend going up that half size, especially if you're going to be playing ball in these and wearing thick Nike Elite socks. So the issue with this shoe, at least for me, was the snugness of this area right here, right above the laces. So even when I loosened up the lace all the way, I could feel the sides of the shoe really crunching in and putting pressure on top of my foot. So I could only imagine how snug it would have felt if I had stuck true to size instead. But your mileage may vary, so hopefully eventually the Ja 1 will be stocked pretty heavily so that you can actually go to a sneaker store and actually try them on to decide what size fits you best. Moving on to the comfort of this shoe, again from a casual use perspective, I thought it was perfectly fine. Of course, it's not going to be as comfortable as, for example, LeBron 20 or even a KD 15 with that full-length Zoom strobel. So the cushioning setup with the Ja 1 is very simple. We just have that full-length EVA foam and then a very small Zoom Air unit underneath the forefoot. So while I could still feel the Zoom Air, it was pretty minimalistic, and then the rest of the shoe felt pretty basic. And you can also see how the tongue is partially connected to the body of the shoe, which gives the shoe somewhat of a booty-like or one-piece fit. As far as the upper goes, I thought it felt pretty soft already straight out of the box, so there's really no break-in time required for this shoe. Finally, in terms of the overall quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, material quality, honestly, it was pretty poor. However, this kind of reflects the price point of this shoe. For $110 US, I feel like you're pretty much going to get what you pay for. Considering the LeBron 20 is basically double the price, we can't really expect the shoe to have premium materials. So with that said, we have a bunch of meshes, a lot of fuse overlays, and synthetic leathers. So there's really nothing about the materials that screamed quality. However, the build of the shoe, I thought it was okay. The stitch job on the shoe I thought was solid. I didn't have any issues with that. And I thought the paint job of the midsole was pretty good as well. So obviously you're not going to get a super premium Nike product, but for a signature basketball sneaker from one of the NBA's top stars, I gotta applaud Nike for making the shoe a lot more accessible from a financial standpoint. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet. I'll lace them up and I'll show you guys how these look. Overall, I think this is a solid debut signature sneaker for Ja Morant, but I won't lie and say that it's one of my favorites. For me, the fit of the shoe, I just couldn't feel totally comfortable in it. And like I mentioned before, I really didn't like this top-down view of the shoe. It just looks very puffy and very bulky. But looking at the shoe from the side, I am still a fan of the design of the sneaker, at least looking at it from this point of view. And from what I've seen online from people that have actually played ball in this, it seems like at least the reviews are pretty good. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this Nike Ja 1 in the Day 1 colorway. What are your overall thoughts on this first signature sneaker for Morant? And for anyone watching, did you also pick up a pair of these? And if you did, are you playing ball in them or just gonna rock them casually on the streets? If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow my Twitter account at sean.go, and visit my website at seango.ca. So until next time, thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.